the decades that built modern America. Before takeout, menus and drive-through windows, the blue-colored dinner table was sacred ground. Every evening, after long hours at the factory, the mill, the rail yard, or the dock, families would gather around meals that spoke of work, struggle, and pride. These were not dishes found in cookbooks or fancy restaurants. They were born from necessity, thrift, and heart. They represented a generation that knew how to stretch a dollar, waste nothing, and turn the simplest ingredients into warm, filling comfort. Each plate was a reflection of the times, hard-earned, hearty, and honest. Yet as the decades rolled on, these blue-colored dinners quietly disappeared, replaced by convenience, fast food, and the endless hum of modern life. Tonight, we remember them, the 25 forgotten blue-collar dinners that once kept the working class alive, strong, and proud. Imagine a time when the kitchen smelled of onions sizzling in lard, when pots simmered all day because gas was cheaper than groceries, and when leftovers were not waste but the next night's dinner. The blue-collar family didn't dine, they ate. They didn't decorate plates, they filled them. The first dish that comes to mind is meatloaf, the undisputed champion of the working man's supper. A loaf of ground beef, sometimes half beef, half oatmeal or crackers, seasoned simply, baked slowly, and drenched in ketchup or gravy. It wasn't fancy, but it stretched a pound of meat into a meal for 6. Kids loathed it, fathers craved it, and mothers relied on it. Today, it's a nostalgia dish, but in the 1950s through the 1970s, it was survival served hot. Then there was goulash, a thick, tomato-based stew of elbow macaroni, ground beef, onions, and whatever spices were affordable that week. Every family made it differently, and it never failed to fill the house with a smell of comfort. Alongside it came shepherd's pie, layered with mashed potatoes, vegetables, and minced meat, baked until the edges turned golden brown. These were meals that turned scraps into something satisfying. Another staple was fried bologna sandwiches. Simple, greasy, and utterly beloved. Slice the bologna, fry it in a pan until the edges curled, slap it between white bread with mustard or cheese, and dinner was served. It might sound humble, but after 10 hours at the steel plant, that sandwich tasted like a king's meal. And who could forget tuna casserole? Tuna, egg, noodles, peas, and cream of mushroom soup baked under a crust of crushed potato chips or breadcrumbs. It was fast, cheap, and could feed an army of hungry kids. Hamburger Helper appeared in the early 1970s and changed everything. For the first time, one box could transform a single pound of beef into a creamy, filling dinner. It was the blue-collar version of convenience. A revolution in an era when both parents worked and time was short. But even before that, there were sloppy joes, a mix of ground meat, onions, ketchup, and a little sugar spooned onto soft buns. Messy, sweet, savory, the taste of the working class on payday. In industrial towns and coal country, beans and cornbread were an entire meal. Cheap, protein-packed, and filling. The beans slow-cooked all day with a bit of salt pork, and the cornbread baked golden in a cast-iron skillet. Add a splash of vinegar, and you had a poor man's feast. For those who lived by the rails, chipped beef on toast, known affectionately, or not, as SOS in the military, was a classic. Creamy white gravy poured over toast with bits of dried beef. It was quick, salty, and satisfying. When meat was expensive, the potato pancake took center stage shredded potatoes, onions, eggs, and flour, fried, crisp, and golden. Served with applesauce or sour cream, they fed entire families for pennies. Spam and eggs, pork and beans, and macaroni and tomatoes filled lunchboxes and dinner plates alike. Hot dogs and baked beans made frequent appearances, especially on weekends. No one thought of them as junk food. They were real meals, tied to real work. Cabbage rolls, ground meat and rice wrapped in boiled cabbage leaves and baked in tomato sauce, were immigrant favorites that spread through factory towns. Every culture added its twist, but the spirit was the same. Simple ingredients, slow cooking, and enough to feed everyone. The same went for beef stew, simmered for hours until the meat was tender and the carrots melted in the broth, served with crusty bread, It was the kind of meal that made winter nights bearable. The blue-collar dinner table also saw plenty of pot pies, either homemade or frozen, filled with leftover chicken and thick gravy under flaky crusts. Egg noodles with butter and breadcrumbs made a quick dinner when money ran out before payday. Fried liver and onions, though disliked by kids, was prized by parents for its nutrients and low cost. And for those who lived near water, fish cakes, made from leftover cod or canned salmon, were a weekly tradition. Then there was the casserole revolution. From green bean casserole to scallop potatoes with ham, easy, economical, and designed to stretch ingredients through the week. A can of soup, a handful of vegetables, and a sprinkle of breadcrumbs could turn into dinner magic. Stuffed peppers, filled with rice, beef, and tomato sauce, baked in the oven until tender, were another staple of every modest kitchen. Sunday dinners were sacred. That's when the roast chicken appeared. And the centerpiece of pride, it might be the only time of the week when the oven ran for hours. Mashed potatoes, gravy, and a side of peas completed the spread. And come Monday, that same chicken would be reborn as chicken and dumplings, chicken sandwiches, or chicken soup. Nothing was wasted. Every scrap found new life. Many blue-collar families also leaned on pork chops with applesauce, a dish that balanced sweet and savory perfectly. Others relied on chile, spicy and filling, made in big pots that lasted 3 days. Had crackers, cheese, or rice, and you could feed the whole block. In southern towns, country fried steak with gravy reigned supreme. A tough cut of meat transformed into something tender through patience and frying skill. And when payday finally came, there was a treat. Maybe homemade pizza with whatever toppings were affordable, or baked spaghetti, gooey with cheese and sauce. Sometimes, the luxury was just breakfast for dinner. Pancakes, sausage and eggs, served with laughter around a worn wooden table. These moments weren't about the food itself. They were about family, recovery, and pride after another week of hard work. But as time passed and factory whistles fell silent, those meals began to fade. Microwaves replaced ovens, drive-thrus replaced kitchens, and the rhythm of shared dinners slowed to a stop. Today, those blue-collar dinners survive mostly in memory and handwritten recipe cards, in the smells that haunt old kitchens, and in the stories grandparents tell about how we used to eat. Yet, when you think about it, those meals were more than food. They were survival, love, and gratitude on a plate. They fed a nation through struggle and change. Each dish, from meatloaf to beans and cornbread, carried not just calories, but history. They fed the hands that built roads, forged steel, and shaped cities. They were the quiet celebration of the working class, honest, tough, and humble, just like the people who cooked them. So the next time you smell fried onions, or see a loaf of meat cooling on the counter, remember, these forgotten blue-collar dinners were never just recipes. They were lessons in resilience, resourcefulness, and pride. Meals that didn't just fill stomachs, they filled lives. And though they've faded from our tables, they remain alive in memory. One plate, one story, one kitchen at a time.